Well, now we need to find a new funny way to start because I kind of liked the other conversation.
We could just say your headphones died. You need to get new ones. And we had a glorious conversation about the Prince's Todger. It was Todger. We had a whole conversation about Prince Harry's Todger, and you'll never see it. It was recorded. Maybe we could put it on the bonus on the Patreon. We'll put the Todger on the Patreon. Give us $5 to see us talk about Prince Harry's Todger.
Okay. It's, honestly, it's a miracle that we're even here.
Yes. Every time we do this like this, it's movie magic.
Okay, well, yeah, this is actually a miracle. It took us way too long to set up today. No, I meant now that this might be our last episode. I thought the last episode was going to be our last one, but this could be the last episode we ever do. Because of the issues.
You gotta bring this up right in the beginning.
Right. No, I told you I wanted to apologize to everybody, but
you said something about the most liked comment from the last podcast. And I don't remember what that was.
I don't know. I don't want to take up the whole ep because we have a lot to get to, and I do this a lot where I go on tangents.
Yeah.
I don't know how to begin the story, but at the end of the last episode, we had there was a moment, right? And we moved on. We don't care. We're friends. We filmed 2 more episodes after that when we were together and had a great time. So I'd forgotten about it, but then we put the episode out, and then the top comment was, Wood ruined this episode acting so childish with all these likes on it. The thing that sucked even more though is there were people replying to that I don't blame Wood, because of how it became a whole picking sides, and it's just not the vibe that we or I wanted to put out.
That's always going to happen, is people are going to, choose a side, whether or not it's
there's no sides to choose.
Right.
There shouldn't have been sides to choose.
But people are nitpicking and they're going to create sides.
I know. And I appreciate people being passionate and wanting to pick a side. That's pretty cool that people care enough. But if you didn't watch it, you should. It was actually a really fun episode.
If you weren't on my side, unsubscribe right now.
But at the tail end of the last episode, I don't know. I think it's got a little heated, I guess, a little slimy. And we've talked about it, and we just should stop doing money bets. Dumb idea.
Let me say, on what was it, Thursday night, you texted me a novel. And I was like, whoa. I had no idea what this was about. I even watched the episode and just, whatever. I completely forgot about everything that happened. So
I did too. The episode came out.
Thursday night, you texted me a novel, and again, you have an Android phone, so it came up all weird and wacky on my phone. So I was like, "Give me a second. I need 30 minutes to parse through this."
You said let me get my reading glasses, and then you didn't reply for 45 minutes.
It took me a long time to figure out what was happening. But yeah, you were basically apologizing and explaining yourself, but not really apologizing. You were just kind of explaining yourself about what happened, and I was like, "Whoa." It wasn't that big of a deal. We didn't need to go through all of that. It was a moment in time that just so happened to be captured. Go back to the last episode if you want to see it.
I felt bad. I felt bad that I might have ruined our episode. I was trying to explain what happened in the moment, and that I got a little frustrated because if you watch the moment back, I was trying to get a point across, and then I was kind of getting yelled over, and then I just kind of shut down after that, and I had a little Wood moment. But the issue is, we're recording. We're recording and I can't get out of the moment. I'm just kind of stuck in it. And then I calmed down and we talked about McDonald's toys, and then we did a bunch of other episodes. But when you watch it back, the moment's recorded, and I feel like it was actually clear to me at the moment and watching it back that we were both pretty annoyed. We both just got to a point where we were banging each other's heads about the rules. And you could tell you were frustrated too. What are you looking at?
One of my lights died.
Oh. But I present my frustration in a more somber way, whereas you're just like, I'm gonna win this despite this guy, which is more entertaining. It's more funny, and I don't know. I just wanted to apologize if it came across the wrong way, because I mean, we're fine. The show. I mean, there were people in the comments saying this might be the last episode.
I don't think you owe it to anybody. Again, it was a moment that happened, and we're over it. Everybody else should be over it.
Okay,
get over it, guys. It's fine.
I appreciate you. I don't know. I want to create fun, entertaining, engaging content, and I always feel bad if I feel like I fail.
There's going to be people who are watching this who have no idea what happened. It was a stupid game show, and we had a little, tiff because we were both trying to win. That was it.
We were trying really hard to win. Mm-hmm. I also feel bad because Hannah did such a great job, and I don't want to put a stain on how great she did. That was a really fun game.
Yeah, she put it together pretty good. Yeah.
You want to talk about Fire Emblem?
Sure. I mean, it's not my type of game, so I haven't been playing it. So that's all. I've been playing another game that we'll talk about later.
Oh, is it Hi-Fi?
You want to give it away? Yes.
Sorry. I want to hear about it because I want to play it really badly, but I haven't had time. And I've seen all my friends in my Discord, my high school Discord, are gushing about it.
It's very, very cool.
Yeah, it looks really cool. Apparently, I know a lot. I'm skipping to it. I know a lot about it, but apparently the main guy, he has Nero's running animation from Devil May Cry. Like the game in general took a lot of inspiration. Yeah, it took a lot of inspiration from a lot of games. There's a lot of Easter eggs in there to other games too. Yeah. And I guess one is Nero's running animation, which
and just a lot of pop culture stuff.
Yeah,
which we'll talk about.
Yeah.
But
let's get there.
There's also another game that came out that we'll be talking about.
Yeah. So Fire Emblem released on the 20th, and if you're a big fan, you might have a hard time sitting through the next 10 to 15 minutes.
I've been getting a lot of crap for saying stuff about it, just about how it looks. And we've talked on the podcast a bunch of times about how it looks like a mobile game, or it just doesn't feel as big as Three Houses. And a lot of people disagree. I don't know how you could disagree with that. One of the disagreements is that it is technically better, like it runs better.
Yeah,
but it doesn't look better. So why does that matter?
Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts about this just on the visual presentation alone, and I'm split many different ways on it. After comparing it to Three Houses and playing the new one, I have been playing it and looking at the visual styles, I get why people think it does look better and performs better. There's a couple of things. Mostly, a lot of the battle animations are way more fluid. There's some really cool things like when you get attacked and you dodge the attack. In the last one, it was just like a step back animation. It was very custom, standard, boilerplate, whatever. But in the new one, there's like some really fancy dodges specific to the characters and like the weapons that are coming your way. And then they flow back into an attack. So it makes the battles feel more grand.
Dodges?
What do you think I said?
Todgers, yeah. I think you just threw that in there.
Some really fancy Todgers.
Yep.
No, so a lot of the animations are great, and they have pumped in a lot more colors, and it looks more visually appealing.
Red and blue.
No. If you look at the game side by side, Three Houses is very muted. It's very grayscale. It's a very dark, gritty feel, which I prefer, because this new feel, which is more poppy, it's more colorful, it looks like Genshin Impact. That's what's making it feel like a mobile game.
It looks... I mean, I've only seen like a little bit of actual gameplay, and it's just people talking, and the people talking is exactly like Genshin Impact. And I went back and looked at other Fire Emblem games to see, like, is this just how it is? No, they literally, like, saw Genshin Impact and was like, we could just make the guys talking like Genshin Impact, but charge $60 for it.
The dialogue is very, very cringy.
Like, and that's not a good part of Genshin Impact. Like, the people talking. Like, it was better in the other Fire Emblems when you just had a PNG and like the moving mouths and stuff.
Yeah, I don't really have strong opinions on one way or the other on that, but the dialogue in general I find way more cringier this time around. I don't know if I'm misremembering, but I've seen a lot of people online say Here's let me finish that thought. A lot of people online say that it's to ignore the. I hate saying this because I always get in trouble for saying ignore the story.
We're gonna get in a lot of trouble
They're
today.
kind of, I know they're saying like, don't worry about the story. It's very like typical anime weeby. You play it for the gameplay, which I get. Here's the thing I was about to say. A lot of people have said that this is a more traditional Fire Emblem. They've kind of gone back to the roots. It's similar to one of those 3DS Fire Emblems that I've never played. And apparently, I didn't realize this, Three Houses was a big deviation from the franchise and what the series had kind of built up until that point. Now, I thought at the time they were kind of expanding the format and becoming something new and becoming something different and adding in like all these different branching story paths and 3 different houses, and you have this hub world, this school that you roam about in, and it's an integral part of the gameplay, and there's a lot of day and night going on dates and eating, and you have to spend your time wisely. A lot of the stuff I love from Persona, and I loved all of that, and it made getting to the battles in I typically don't like strategic turn-based gameplay, but it made getting to those battles more rewarding because I knew all my characters. I've been dating half of them, so I didn't want any of them to die, obviously. But this new one, Engage, has gone back to the core format of just talking, battle, talking, battle. And it's a nice split, but it is like a visual novel mixed in with a strategic turn-based game. And I there's no wiggle room, and I just don't care as much.
It seems like they've regressed a little bit. I mean, people who like this game seem to be more focused on the actual combat. But doesn't seem to be much else going on. Do you think it was developed by like in tandem? Like, do you think it's in development while Three Houses was in development? Is that possible?
No,
I don't know how the development cycles work.
Yeah, I don't really know the whole Fire Emblem get up.
Like is it like a Pokemon Arceus thing where they did stuff to like progress like the game mechanics in Pokemon, and then the next game comes out and it's a step back again?
I don't think that's what's happened, but that is an interesting comparison. I mean, because essentially that is kind of what happened. Fire Emblem, if you want to look at it that way, Three Houses almost is the Arceus of the series, where not necessarily something that everyone's been asking for, but they did something that was a departure to the series, and I really loved it. And if you're a fan of it, or Arceus, jumping back into Violet and Scarlet or Engage is a little bit more like, oh, we're back to this again,
so
which is fine.
Do you think that they just
fine.
didn't have time to implement that stuff, or they were already working on Engage for some reason?
I really don't know, because it has been a few years since Three Houses, so I don't think it's a time issue. There is a hub world in the game. It just doesn't seem like it's a crucial part of the game like the school was in Three Houses. It's something you can experience and you can utilize, but you don't really need to. So that it's almost like they put the element there kind of for people that liked it in Three Houses, but just didn't flesh it out, which its core, the way it's built at its core really feels like they knew what they were doing as far as they were making another traditional Fire Emblem. I mean, even the story is very traditional. It's very linear. I don't believe there's different endings. I could be wrong. I mean, you can lose characters, which obviously has to affect some things, but for the most part, it's linear. There's not 3 different stories. There's only the one story, and I don't think you have too much to change at the end. So as far as on a grand scale of time and resources to make something, you would think this game took a lot less than Three Houses.
That's what I mean. Again, I'm just looking at it and I'm like, this is not
that's
as
why,
big
and
as
then
Three
to me,
Houses.
that's why it comes across like a mobile game, because the last game was gritty and dark and more visceral, I guess. This new one's really bright and poppy like a mobile game visually, and there's no running around exploring. There is kind of, but it's hidden and you don't need to do it.
And it looks like Genshin Impact.
Yeah, I mean, at least Genshin Impact has running around and open world stuff.
I like Genshin Impact because that was more of a gameplay style that I'm interested in, though.
I mean, yeah, but this new Fire Emblem game, it doesn't really have the running around aspect of Genshin. It just has the talking heads and the battles, which could easily be a mobile game. It could be.
Yeah.
This game could easily be on mobile. So I get why you're drawing that comparison. As far as the comparisons to Genshin, though, they are completely different games.
Yeah.
So I don't want to
they're gonna play completely different. But the weirdest part is that the freaking cutscenes and the dialogue is like a direct comparison to Genshin Impact, which is like the weirdest takeaway to take away from such a popular game like Genshin Impact.
Yeah, no, I agree. And it's also, it's weird. It's really fast paced too. Like the way they've set it up, Three Houses is very slow and methodical. You know, in the first hour of the game, you choose your house and you start picking your characters and building your team. In this game, you wake up from 1,000-year slumber. You get told that there are these bad guys trying to steal all the Elden Ring, or Lord of the Ring rings.
You hit on your mom.
You hit on your mom, and yep, that is a thing. And then you need to go and start gathering the rings, and you're like out on your adventure, battling bad guys and heading towards the first town in like 30 minutes. Like it's very like there's no real setup. You are just like pick up and go, start battling, start playing, and that's fine. I mean, no one likes a lot of fluff at the start, but it feels like this game very much has a purpose of we're here to do these battles. We're here to do these battles and to see these cool collaborations with our older games. Like we want to get these rings and start mixing with Moth.
I feel like a lot of die-hard Fire Emblem fans are gonna eat that up. They're gonna love that.
Oh yeah, for
that's why they're like
Fire Emblem
defending
fans,
it so much. Yeah,
for diehard fans, 1,000%. I think what throws me a little bit, and as I guess a newcomer to the series, really, really loving Three Houses, and I got to be honest, and I'm sorry, struggling to play Engage. It throws me a little bit just because Three Houses was, I believe, the best-selling Fire Emblem of all time. It sold something like 3 million copies, I think, and that's off the top of my head. I could be wrong. So to take that and be like, oh, we've done something different here and it really worked, but then want to regress, I don't want to say regress or go backwards.
Yeah,
the series
they did.
In my opinion, yes.
That's what you've been saying this whole time.
Yeah, I know, but let me backtrack a little bit because the series has survived and been popular through the last like 25 years based purely on what Engage is. Right. So it's not regressing. It's going back to the way it was before, but to do that after their biggest success being something that I felt evolved the series, does make it feel like it's a weird choice to go back, I think. And
there's
not
nothing
to
wrong
continue.
with going back to your roots. It's just that when you did something so well and changed so much that everybody liked, you don't have to regress that much, you know? Going back to your roots doesn't have to be a complete, like regression.
I agree. I agree.
And choose the things to regress about.
I 1,000% agree, but both of us, and me specifically, are looking at this from not really a fan of the series, but a fan of the last game. So I don't know how much I have right to even say, because I guess I'm just happy I got a Fire Emblem game at one point that I really loved, because all the others have kind of just been not for me. But
I have no right to say anything because I haven't played any of them.
Yeah, I didn't want to out you. I didn't want to out you. Hey, end of the day, if Three Houses is the only Fire Emblem I really end up enjoying, at least they built 3 different stories in it so I can play it 3 different times, which is more than I usually play a game. So I appreciate that.
Everyone I've talked to about this game seems to have the same opinion, but I guess we're all like Nintendo Switch boys, so I feel like most of the people I've talked to haven't played anything before Three Houses. So
yeah, I mean, everyone has.
And then there's people on
opinions.
Twitter who are like, defending it, but they're probably diehard.
Oh, there's
Fire
always
Emblem
going
fans,
to be.
yeah.
But here's the thing, and I want to stress this: it's still, apparently, but I can see it. It's still a good Fire Emblem game. Like, it's still getting scored well. It's, I think, 82 on Metacritic. Three Houses was 87. So, I mean, Three Houses did do a little better in popularity, and that showed in sales. But that doesn't mean that Engage is a bad game. It's still scoring really well, and core fans love it.
Right.
But for me, it's just, how long do you want to keep appealing just to the core fan? The core fans also love Three Houses. Yeah. So, I mean, how long do you want to only appeal to the core fans that have only got you a couple million sales per game, as opposed to doing something more broad that appeals to more people? But that's just coming from a non-fan standpoint.
We'll have to see what the next one is like to see which
it'll be interesting
things they take away from the previous games, just to see if we're getting more Three Houses, because I do think that maybe they already had an idea for Engage while Three Houses was coming out, and they weren't sure how people were going to like Three Houses.
I could see that, but I mean, I think it's just been a little too long. It's been 3 years. They could have fleshed it out more. They could have leaned into it. They could have delayed
They
it.
absolutely could have done more stuff in those 3 years. But I mean, I don't know how long the development cycle was. It could have been longer than that.
One thing I'll say is, as far as them doing what we liked in Three Houses, there was like little doggies running around, and you couldn't pet them. And like in my review, I remember saying you couldn't pet them, and then I think they updated the game later so you could pet the doggies. And in this new one, you can actually acquire pets. You can like find cats, and you can get them. And then I don't know where they go after that. I assume I haven't played that far, but I got a cat. And I assume it's waiting for me somewhere. I just got to go find it. But they are doing some stuff.
That must have been a response to the Three Houses.
To my video?
Or to specifically your video.
I mean, they updated the last game after my video. But if you're enjoying Engage, don't let us diminish it, because another thing
No, you shouldn't like it, and you should be ashamed of yourself.
One more thing I'll say in its favor is the combat is better. The combat is better. It is better. I don't like that.
Well, that's
it's
the
top down
main
now.
defense, is that it's a big focus on the combat, and everybody seems to.
It's so
Fire
much
Emblem
better.
fans seem to like that a lot.
The animation's better. It's flashier. The way the characters, pun intended, engage, but like talk to each other. Because literally, if you like, I do find this really cool about Fire Emblem, but like you'll have like 19 characters on your side, and you'll have a bad guy you have to go and beat. And depending what character ends up getting there first, however you play, they'll have specific dialogue between them. So they've made different dialogue for every character interacting with every other bad character. It's really cool how it all like plays out. The only thing I don't like about the combat this time around is it's more top down. The last game, it was more of a side view catered towards your side of the field, and it had this really nice look to it. It just looked more like a video game that I play on my Switch. The top down is what's not helping it look even more mobile-y.
Right.
I think that's why initially when we first saw the game, we were like, why is this so much more mobile?
Yeah, the first trailer, I was like, whoa, this is not...
It's because mobile games
flashy.
and strategic games in general usually just do a top-down like this game does.
It's easier to click.
Yeah, whereas Three Houses did a more... It was just more pulled towards your side of the field, and you saw it like heading this way out. It's kind of hard to explain. I don't want to say third person, but almost like a mix of the two.
It was a third person, like the camera was positioned in a third person way, but it was still like
but
a
still kind of
game.
Overhead enough that you could see the whole field, and it gave it a nice weighted, polished feel, I felt. Whereas the top down, it just leans even more into the mobile-ish theme that we're seeing when we look at it.
Maybe it was intended for you to touch it, and then they
for when it comes to mobile.
That or something. Maybe the Switch
Pro
I wonder
is
supposed to be focused on touch. Maybe the Switch 2 is going to have touch stuff. More touchy.
More touchy.
Yeah.
I wonder if when you play in I've never played in handheld, if you can actually touch, and they thought it would be easier to see that way. I don't know, but it looks worse.
I feel like I just heard that they took that out of some Switch game that was supposed to be a mobile game. They took out like the touch part. For some stupid reason.
Isn't it funny how every console
Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild was supposed to have like a Wii U gamepad support and stuff, and then you're supposed to be able to touch stuff on the map and whatever, and then they showed it in one of the demos, and then they just took all that out when they brought it to the Switch. Well, they took all of it out in the Wii U version also, so that like you couldn't even do it on the Wii U.
Oh, really?
Version. I think that's what I
more interesting.
read. I haven't actually like played the Wii U version.
I find it funny that every time we get new hardware for any console or anything, they always lean heavy into the gimmicks to begin with, and then very quickly you forget about all of them.
Because none of the developers want to work on that stuff. They just want to make a good game.
Even something as simple as touch controls on a touch screen on Switch, like what game? Like no games even do it.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of like weird fringe mobile games that get ported, and they're just straight up mobile ports, so you can do the touch screen if you want. I will say PlayStation does a really good job. Their first party games utilize the HD rumble of the controller and like the controller stuff.
Are you a little disappointed by the adaptive triggers and feedback and haptic feedback of the PlayStation so far?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I haven't played much first party stuff. but I wasn't when I first got the PlayStation 5. I have some videos where I'm very upset about how the triggers work because there's so much travel. And in a game like Call of Duty, they do it so that like it feels like you're in the game pulling a trigger. But first of all, that's not what a real gun feels like. And second of all, I want it to be a hair trigger because I want the fastest reaction possible when I'm playing like a friggin'
like a competitive shooter.
Yes, when I'm playing a competitive game, I want it to be as quick as possible, which is why on my other controllers, I freaking want them to be clicky and super responsive. So the far travel of the freaking DualShock DualSense controller is too much. But I just got the DualSense Edge. Is that what it's called? Their Elite controller, and I'm gonna open it tonight.
Yeah,
I haven't actually played with it, but I just got it. And I'll have a video on it by the day this comes out. There'll be a video on it.
Are they like a? Could I just go to GameStop and get one?
I don't know. I got it straight from PlayStation, so I have no idea.
Okay. Yeah, I forgot to order that. I saw Spawnwave get his. I was like, oh man, I want that because my favorite Xbox controller is the Elite. And I was like, oh, I want PlayStation's version.
PlayStation should have had one for a long time, and I'm glad that they finally got one. But I don't like the DualSense controller like at all. So I'm very interested to see how I'm gonna like this new modified version.
I like PlayStation's controller a lot more than last time, and I was really excited for the haptic stuff because, I don't know, I'm a fan of gimmicks. I love Nintendo and the Joy-Cons and all the wacky things they do, but there's been very few games I've played with the haptic feedback so far that I've thought, oh, that felt cool.
Well, like, every time I feel it surprises me. I'm like, oh yeah, there's this, and that was kind of cool. The last one was Returnal. Like, having the controller...
Returnal was sick.
Having the controller like talk to you and make sounds, and then the way the triggers rumbled, and I think like there was a specific way that it rumbled that gave you like a boost with your gun, something like that. Like you charge it and then like you feel something and then you can like let go. Whatever it was awesome. And there's a lot of first party Nintendo stuff that doesn't do anything with their HD rumble.
Yeah,
and they have so much tech in the Joy-Con that's just not doing anything.
Yeah, there's definitely games on PlayStation that utilize it really well, like that and Astrobot and a couple of things.
Yeah,
but like,
Astro's Playroom?
Yes, yeah.
That was awesome.
When I'm playing like God of War, for example, there's like times where like you'll have to like swing the axe to like cut something, and they've tried to haptic feedback it, but like, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but you almost like pull down and then you feel it, and then you gotta push. And it's like kind of cool because that's what an axe would do. But it's like after you do that, he'll then swing because now you've like put in the
that's just
the input, right?
That's just the way of your gameplay.
Now so like it's off. It's like I'm not getting the feedback as it's happening. I'm doing it and then it's happening.
Yeah.
And I've had a lot of experiences like that where I'm like, it would be cooler if it's at the same time.
Yeah.
But I like using a bow in games, right? Because you usually like aim with L, and then you like it gives you like that hard tension, and then you let go, and then you feel the adaptives like let go, which that's really cool.
Yeah,
but a lot of the time it's like it's in the way. It's like stop fighting me.
When the Joy-Con was announced, they had that demo where he had like ice cubes in a cup and he shakes it, and he's like, you can feel the ice
always
cubes.
Think about
and you're
that.
like, bullshit. And then you go, and we went and did the demos of like 1-2 Switch and stuff. One of my first experiences with the Switch was at a demo event. I went there. And I played a bunch of games, and I was like, yeah, whatever, it's a new Nintendo console. And then I went to play 1-2 Switch, and they were like, here's the Joy-Con. Guess how many balls are in the Joy-Con? I was like, what are you talking about? And then I rolled it around, and I was like, holy shit, there's 5 balls in this Joy-Con. This is amazing. And then never again did I feel that. Not even once, because I never got 1-2 Switch, because the game's stupid. And no other games utilized stuff like that. But it felt like there were 5 balls in my Joy-Con, and there were not.
I know. I had the same thing. And that's what I mean by every time. You get these really cool things and gimmicks and ideas, and they never get utilized. Yeah. But I was also blown away by the amount of balls in my hand back then. That was wild.
Yeah. And then the PlayStation 5 was announced, and then they said that had their version. What I forgot what they call haptic. No, they called it something, and everyone was going nuts about it. And I was like, "That's just HC Rumble. It's the same thing. It's just that they're using it, and Nintendo did not."
There was a while there where before the 5 came out, where Sony and PlayStation, all the rumors were like, they're so inspired by the Switch. Like Sony's been inspired by Nintendo. And that led to a lot of rumors about a new Vita or the new PlayStation being a hybrid. But I think it's pretty clear where that inspiration went in. It's like, it's not so much PlayStation were looking at completely changing their console format when they're on top of the game. It's more, how can we take what Nintendo has done and have people engage with our games in a similar way that's fun? And, and they took the HD Rumble. They took the haptic feedback. They tried to make, but they created something that made you play and feel the games differently, which is what Nintendo was going
It's
for.
a little hard to tell because they had versions of stuff like that in previous controllers. But it's hard to tell whether or not this was the natural progression of the industry, because these people are tech people. They're sitting there, they're looking at all of the different technologies that they can throw into the controllers. Did they just come to the same conclusion that Nintendo did, or did they see the success of Nintendo and decide we could do that too? Because it's probably a little bit of both. They probably had something going on, and then they saw that, and they also Nintendo. PlayStation has been talking a lot of shit about Nintendo. Have you been following the Microsoft PlayStation lawsuits and stuff? Because PlayStation's trying to block the Microsoft acquisition of Activision Blizzard,
which is wild.
It's very strange. And one of the things PlayStation was straight up like, Microsoft is trying to turn us into Nintendo by blocking Call of Duty from us. They think we're only going to have kids games from now on. It was insane, the stuff that they were saying.
Because Microsoft buying Activision, they said they wanted to bring Call of Duty to the Switch in the next couple of years or something. They had a time frame. And
it was before that PlayStation said the thing that they said.
Well, then PlayStation said after that, right? They said no one on the Switch's kiddie user base is going to have interest in Call of Duty.
No, that's the thing. They said that before.
Really?
Microsoft announced that they were coming, that they were going to bring it to the Switch, because that was an extra fuck you to PlayStation for doing that. I think it was the same day.
I don't blame PlayStation for wanting to block this, because of course they're not going to want to lose Call of Duty or even lose exclusive rights.
They're competing, so it would be in PlayStation's best interest to block the massive merger from happening. Yes.
But it is wild to say that Call of Duty won't do well on Switch. Yeah. I find it baffling that I think Call of Duty, the franchise, is 4th best selling video game franchise of all time. Yep. It's going to sell wherever you put it.
Also, it's been there before. It's been on Nintendo consoles before.
There's so many points to this, but
usually the crappy version, but it still sold.
It was on Wii U and it sold well because
it was on
any
DS,
Call of Duty,
dude.
Any Call of Duty on any console is going to outsell inherently 99% of the library that's already on the console, because it's Call of Duty, because it's one of the best-selling franchises of all time. And to say it doesn't appeal to kids tells me that PlayStation has never got into a PlayStation lobby and heard the people talking on the other end, because
or
it's
work at a GameStop.
Kids. And the other point isn't even just the kids, or work at a GameStop. The other point isn't even just the kids. It's if you actually look at the basic graph online that you can Google of the active user base of Switch, it's the ages of 25 to 35 is the biggest peak of how old Switch users are. There's as many kids as there is I don't want to say elderly, but elderly, 40 to 50. We're old. The older demographic is almost as equal as the kids. So I mean, maybe the kids won't be interested in Call of Duty, but that's not even the major point or the major demographic of the Switch. And also, kids play Call of Duty. Let's be real.
I mean, sometimes the Switch is the only console that somebody has, whether or not whatever age they are. So,
it's the
getting
perfect console
that
to be
game
the
in
only
people's
one.
hands is great. But also, we're talking about all this. it would be a shame if Microsoft decided to block Call of Duty from PlayStation. Obviously, that's a shame. But Microsoft was told Sony they were trying to work out a deal to put Call of Duty on PlayStation for 10 years. But PlayStation has to kind of dance around it because they're in court. They have to try to prove that that this merger is going to be a huge problem for them. So they're in a weird position where they can't really agree to Microsoft's terms. They have to make it seem like it's super unfair. And Microsoft has to do the exact opposite. They have to prove that they're being really fair. So it's like...
That's interesting.
It's hard to navigate.
Think a lot of what PlayStation is saying about the Switch is just fodder for trying to convince a court that it's unfair?
Yes. Yes. Why would PlayStation say that? Why would PlayStation just randomly bring up the Nintendo, which has nothing to do with this? Why would they randomly bring that up and just to shit on it? It's so weird. It's very strange.
We're in such a weird place with video games in general right now.
We are. A lot of companies are getting eaten up by other companies. A lot of companies are going under, and IPs are getting stolen and taken to other stuff. It's very strange.
There's so much money in video games now. Like the deals that are being done are in the billions for video games now. Yeah. It has well exceeded like TV and movies.
The entire video games industry has been doing over $100 billion a year for the last couple of years.
This is what, oh my God, there's so much that pisses me off about Xbox. There are so many ways, reasons, and thought processes to look at Xbox and their current position in the video game market and be baffled, but this is another one. What we just said, video games is the largest industry.
Yep.
Xbox and Microsoft have the money to buy Activision. They have a console on the market that is one of the only 3 video game consoles that we have. I mean, there's others, but you know what I'm saying? One of the 3, Nintendo, Sony, Xbox. And in this whole generation of video game console, they have made, and I'm going to count them on one hand, the exclusives Halo.
Yep. Turn those gears. Let's see what else you got.
I think that is it. I was done. And Halo has been a nightmare. I don't want to go into this too much because we're a Nintendo podcast, but they just fired like half the people.
We're going to be talking about Microsoft.
Half the people working at 343 and that were working on the game. They scrapped a lot of the stuff that was supposed to be coming. Like, I don't know if it was, I can't remember offhand if it was the DLC, if it was some other support, but scrapped a lot of things that were supposed to be happening in Infinite to actually fix it and make it a better only exclusive on the console. The guy that they brought in to salvage Halo, because if you don't know, Infinite went through like 5 years of development hell, and then this guy who I guess worked on the games before came back in with like 9 months to spare and was like drastically chopping and changing and getting rid of things because apparently there was so much fluff in the game, and he was like, get it all out of there. He's going to concentrate on this.
I really want to see a documentary of what happened in the last 2 years of that game.
That game and Cyberpunk would be the 2 most interesting games to see what happened, what the games were like, blah, blah, blah. But the guy that came in to work on it, he left now as well. He left again. He's like, I want out of here. And then everyone thought 343 were done with Halo after that. And then they announced they'll still be making Halo with the limited team they have left. And this is all happening on Xbox's only game they have right now. Where is their money? What are they doing? How do they have nothing?
It's very confusing because, like, is 343 the problem, or is it Microsoft's like brass that's the problem? Like, is Microsoft's like the suits, are they the issue? Were they doing some weird shit with 343?
I mean, it could be both, but if you look at, again, the rest of the situation right now, there's nothing else. So clearly, clearly Microsoft is having a hard time. There is one more thing.
Well, the thing with Microsoft is that they bought 1 billion studios, and they're letting those studios release their games on other consoles. They just don't really care. And I think that's fine. Because their bottom line won't be affected. They're still going to... They own the games. They own the IPs. So if it sells on a PlayStation, like Deathloop, remember that? That was a Microsoft-owned game. game
Yeah.
that they just let. I mean, they had to probably fulfill their contract, but that was a PlayStation 5 exclusive, and they still get money off of that, so they profit either way. So they have a lot of games now, and they just don't care where you play it as long as you play it.
It's so weird. And to bring it back to Nintendo, I don't want to leave Xbox because I was actually trying to segue because of hi-fi, but I just had another idea. And because I thought about this the other day, to bring it back to Nintendo, this is why I personally love Nintendo so much and why I think Nintendo has such charm. Because, yeah, they have their problems, but Nintendo make the console. They make them fun and wacky. They make the console, and then they make the best games for the console.
Yep.
And they're constantly in-house, just branded, published by Nintendo, developed by Nintendo, releasing these banger games for their console all the time. And they're the only company still doing this. Like, it's literally like they are holding on to the bygone era of how video games and consoles were managed and made, and managing to be super successful with it, despite how you feel about it. That's really cool when you look at like Xbox, which has nothing, which is a different argument. But when games come out, that's like Halo made by 343, not Nintendo. Like, they own 343, but you know what I mean by that feeling Nintendo, of in-house?
Their studios are called like Nintendo, like LTD and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's like a little sneaky.
Yeah, I mean, Sony kind of does something similar with Sony Santa Monica and stuff like that. But they still have like
in-house
second party studios.
That's what makes God of War feel so like close to home for the console too.
But they do have like Naughty Dog. Like, they work so closely.
Yeah, I know.
With Naughty Dog.
Yeah, Naughty Dog does some of their best games, but Naughty Dog can be bought by Xbox like that.
I think that Microsoft just doesn't really. Again, they don't care where you play the games because I think they got some weird shit going on with Game Pass, and they're totally comfortable just trying to get your subscription. They've got
to be heading towards something, because if you don't get exclusives on a console, people aren't going to buy the next one.
Well, let's talk about their big announcement last week, which was they called it a developer direct. So like, you remember, when Nintendo used to do things, they would call it a Nintendo Direct, when they used to.
I think they still do.
I think they still do.
They still use
It's been a while.
Yeah, I think they still use Direct.
It's been
a minute, but we are in February. We're getting one soon.
True. That's true.
Wait, we're not February yet.
No, we're almost. We'll be there.
Well, we will be. We will be. In the next 9 days, there will be an announcement for a Direct.
Wow. Okay.
From this going out.
Okay. I think February for sure. I just don't know when. Yeah. I think Nintendo's a little behind from when they're usually
It'll be 9 days from when this episode comes out. It'll be 9 days. They'll announce it.
Okay. I believe that. Microsoft did their developer direct. It's different than the others. They used to do announcements, and it was like a 4-hour long, basically podcast, where it's it
was so boring,
like an Xbox guy sitting down with the developer, and it was horrible,
rough.
This time, it was more like a documentary. It kind of felt like a mix between a Nintendo Direct and one of those Apple keynotes.
Okay,
and it was just like well shot interviews with developers talking about the games and what they're working on and stuff. It was like 45 minutes long. I skipped through some of it because there's some games that I just didn't care about. They only talked about 4 or 5 games, so they didn't really have that much. Yeah,
for the whole thing.
Yeah,
Forza apparently had a really big deep dive into it.
The first game they talked about was Minecraft Legends, which I thought came out.
Moving on. Yeah, no.
There's a player versus player mode, and they thought that was worth talking about for 15 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, it is Minecraft. You said Dungeons?
Legends.
Legends. Okay, that's the RTS one, right?
Yeah.
It looks rough. I don't know. Maybe RTS.
Wait, which one is the adventure game? Isn't that Legends?
There's one called Dungeons, which is like
that's what I'm thinking of.
Exploration-y roguelike kind of thing. And then the new one, which looks like an RTS of some kind.
It's a sandbox. No. Never mind. It's an action strategy game.
It's Minecraft, and we're 31. I'm 30.
All right, moving on. The second game they talked about was the biggest shock of the whole thing. Hi-Fi Rush, developed by Tango Gameworks. Which
what have they done before?
The Evil Within.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
They've only done horror stuff.
There's a reference to that game in this game, but that's funny. Only done horror.
Yeah,
and this is like a rhythm upbeat.
It's super colorful. It's stylized like an early 2000s cartoon. It's awesome, and it's a rhythm action game. So it's the type of game that I've been burned out on for years. It's a third person like hack and slash like beat 'em up type game, like
it looks so cool.
Yeah, you attack a guy and then you counter the guy and then you attack the guy, but you have to do it on beat. You don't have to, but you get extra boosts and stuff if you do it on beat. And everything in the world is going to the rhythm of the music that's playing. Even the platforming sections when you're platforming are to the beat, like platforms disappear and reappear to the beat. It's awesome.
Yeah. No, it looks sick.
We've been needing the rhythm genre has kind of been weird for the past like 10 years, ever since, like Guitar Hero and Rock Band like burned out.
Well, I will say a lot of what I think this game has took inspiration from and what really rebooted a lot of this style was Crypt of the Necrodancer.
Yes. Yeah.
Which was really sick. And it was this, but in sprite form.
Yeah.
And it's wild to think they can make a game in third-person hack and slash that works like that.
Yeah. Also, the world is really detailed. Like, I was sitting on a platform just looking out, and there's so much crazy stuff going on. In like the beginning of Futurama, when you see like the super like futuristic world and all the tubes going around, it looked like that. But it's in you're in it. I was like,
that's so cool.
It was crazy.
I love hearing you be passionate about a new game.
I know that's because it's so different. So and it's from a developer you would never expect to do something like that. And they announced that they were working on this game, and then they said, by the way, you could play it right now, and it's in Game Pass. So go download it right now. That was crazy.
See, as much as I like to rag on Xbox, this is the one thing that if they did more, this was what was cool about the last gen of Xbox, when they did this more, when they would bring out all these first-party exclusive games day one on Xbox on Game Pass, and you could just download it for free and start playing.
Yeah.
This is what they do best. They just haven't done it for a while.
So it is like an 8 or 9, I think the How Long to Beat said generally about 9 hours. To beat it.
Perfect.
So it's a
perfect
relative, I think that's a perfect length too.
Perfect.
Some people would say that's relatively short. The game, if you want to buy it, is $30. Also, it's on Steam. So it's not even like an Xbox exclusive. It's just like a PC Xbox exclusive.
At this point, exclusives for Xbox do mean PC and Steam.
I just thought Steam was weird because they seem to champion you know why I thought it was weird? Because somebody asked me that, like if it's on PC, and I looked it up, and the first link that I found was an IGN article that said it's an Xbox Series X and S exclusive, and I was like, oh, I guess it's not. And then the next link was a Steam link, and I looked at it, and I was like, oh, it's on Steam for $30.
Does it say console exclusive? Because they've been
it said exclusive because I checked.
Okay, yeah,
IGN was just wrong. But also, they could have maybe I didn't check the developer direct, but in the developer direct, they might have said Xbox exclusive.
That has become the new thing. If you're looking for exclusive, it has to be console exclusive.
Yeah.
But they put Halo on Steam, so I'm not surprised.
That's a good point. But yeah, the game.
Have you finished it yet?
I haven't finished it. But it's super fun.
I might play it today. I've been excited.
It's really good. The world is really funny and it's like, like cheesy, but like they like ham it up on purpose. The main enemy is Vandelay Industries, which is a Seinfeld reference. There's also I saw today there's Twin Peaks references. You said there was a Evil Within reference.
Yeah, he has Nero's running animation.
There's a lot of references.
Apparently, I think a reason why it has that is there's a lot of Devil May Cry inspired elements of the gameplay. Like you get a grappling hook similar to what Nero has too.
Right. It's fantastic, and I want to try to beat it as quick as possible because I'm playing it on very hard because somebody told me that it was fun that way and it wasn't that hard. It is pretty hard. Okay. And I feel like it kind of amplifies some of the mechanics that don't work that well. Like You don't have a parry when an attack comes to you. You dash out of it. But if there's too many enemies, you can run in. You could dash into them, and then you get stuck, and everything's on the beat. So you really have to nail it. But I want to beat it as quick as possible because I feel like I'm gonna forget all of the mechanics that it gives. Like it adds mechanics as you play, and I think I'm at the point where they're not gonna add that many more because I just got I'm a couple hours in. But I'm gonna forget them all by the next time I want to play it. So I want to try to beat the whole thing this weekend.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I might try to beat you to beating it this weekend.
I lied. The weekend's over today. There's no way I'm doing
I was gonna say, and we got to play Valorant tonight. Are you?
Yeah, man.
How much time do you have?
Yeah.
I think I might get it downloading after this.
You know what?
It's free.
Tonight I'm gonna stream and I'm gonna play it, but I'm gonna play it with the PlayStation 5 controller on PC because I want to try the new PlayStation 5 controller.
Do you get haptic feedback when you play it that way?
Definitely not. It'll vibrate probably. No. Anyway,
you're on Xbox or PC. Do you get it on PC?
So that's the thing. I played it on the Series S just because that's what was in my office at the time.
Yeah.
I downloaded it on my Series X on the TV because I thought I was going to play it, and then I ended up not. I'm going to download it on PC through Game Pass, and I'm pretty sure my cloud save will just work through all of stuff.
Yeah, it will.
Which is why I like Xbox so much.
Yeah,
I don't even care
Xbox
that they don't have any games. Just having
Xbox
all that.
Yeah.
Also,
no, I love Xbox.
I haven't tried this yet, but I have my Steam Deck next to my bed, and I'm going to stream it to my Steam Deck. I don't know how well that's going to work because you have to hit everything on rhythm.
Wait, using what?
The Game Pass streaming.
Oh, you've got a little hacky dacky?
So we talked about this when you did your Steam Deck review, that Microsoft has like an official document of how to get Game Pass on Steam Deck, but it is convoluted. You have to go into the terminal on the Steam Deck. But Microsoft tells you how to do it. It's not like a hack. It's like Microsoft is telling you how to hack. Sure, bring it over.
Okay. Cool. We got that sorted.
But yeah, it's I'm gonna try that and see how that works. But that's why I like Microsoft so much because they let you do all that stuff. Anyway, all the other games they talked about was Redfall, which was their it's Arcane Studios, the guys who made.
I skimmed through that. That looked interesting.
Those are the guys who made Deathloop, right? I think so.
It's a first-person shooty.
Yeah, it is basically Left 4 Dead but with vampires.
Okay, I'm less interested.
And then
I love Left 4 Dead, but I've played so many.
There's been so many spiritual successors. Yeah,
I'm playing a VR one right now.
I know. So the other one that they talked about was the Elder Scrolls Online Necrom. It's just an expansion to Elder Scrolls, and that's it.
There was also a partner showcase, just like Nintendo does, a partner direct for Xbox recently, a few days ago, and I
didn't see
skimmed through
that at all.
There was nothing that interesting. It was really weird. There was like the announcements were like for Vigor. You know that free to play Vigor game?
Nope.
Yeah. Okay.
Sounds like out
for years. Vigor. Yep. You know that one?
No.
It's been out for years, and I actually like it. It's fun. But they revealed a JPEG image of someone leaning against a car with some guns next to them, and they were like, and in Vigor you'll get this new skin for free with this new gun. Moving on. It was like that. It was a bunch of things like that. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that's Microsoft going back to the weird style of.
Did you not Forza? Wasn't that in the?
We talked. We mentioned it, but we kind of skipped over it.
Oh, okay.
They did spend a long time on Forza. It is.
Yeah.
They're relaunching Forza, so this one's just called Forza Motorsports. It's not like a numbered one.
So this isn't like the Horizon games that are open world and like really fun?
Correct. Horizon is more of their like arcadey style racing, and Forza Motorsports is like a sim style racing game.
The arcadey Horizon ones always blows people's mind when I tell them or when they find out that they're actually really fun games.
No, they are.
They're actually really fun. Like even I don't like car games,
right,
but like they're fun to play.
So I don't know how I feel about racing games. Like I kind of like racing games. My favorite types are like the Burnout style and like Need for Speed style, where it is arcadey and your whole mission is to run people off the road because it's really fun. But when I had an Xbox 360, it came with Forza Motorsport 2, I think. And I played that a lot, and I played that online, and that was really fun. But that was one of the sim-style racing games. But I had a lot of fun playing that. So I feel like Forza Motorsports probably is going to be very fun. There's nothing these days making me want to play a sim racing game.
Have you played a newer Horizon game?
Yeah, the last Horizon game.
Okay, that's sick.
That's like one of my go-tos for testing Game Pass on stuff. Is
you get into a world and there's like hundreds of other players also going around. And
I see you all the time. It's like the ghost of you in my game. That's fun.
But sometimes they're ghosts, but sometimes you actually see other like online players, and you can like go do your missions, and you see other people doing their missions, but you can like meet up with them and then like drag race them, or you can like instigate other like it's kind of like playing GTA Online if you can't get out of your car.
Right.
It looks battle royales and stuff.
It's awesome. I want to try the Hot Wheels expansion. I haven't tried that.
Oh,
that looks cool. Really fun because it's like it's like the Hot Wheels tracks and you get loop-de-loops and stuff.
Do you know that little anime girl that I give you?
Of course. Oh, Hatsune
they put her into Rocket League.
Oh my god!
Did you see that? She has like a Rocket League car.
I did not see
this. Made me think of that. Did we have something else on the ducky?
The last thing I really want to talk about is GoldenEye. That's a big deal, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. I haven't even seen anything of that.
So I actually just watched MVG's video on it, just so I could, because I didn't actually play it on the Switch. But I saw all of the discourse, and I just wanted to make sure I wasn't missing any technical details. But GoldenEye's finally on the Switch. That's a huge deal because that's one of the best N64 games, and we have a bunch of N64 games on the Switch.
Is it good? Is it sick? Is it cool? Is it great?
I mean, yeah, it's as good as it's always been. The problem is it's not updated at all. And the control configuration of GoldenEye is wacky because nobody at the time knew how to translate first-person shooters to a controller. And the N64 controller is notoriously weird. So, you shoot with your left hand instead of your right hand. Like the left trigger is to shoot instead of the right trigger. On the game... on the same day, also released on Xbox through Rare Replay. The problem is you need to have a digital version of Rare Replay. You can't have a physical, which kind of sucks.
You can't update the physical version?
No, you can only update the digital version for some reason.
Oh.
I think it's a licensing issue.
It has to be.
So... on Xbox, they did update the control scheme, so you can play it like a modern first-person shooter.
Oh, that's good.
Besides the left trigger and right trigger being an issue, the thumbsticks are weird on the normal controller configuration because like one of them is, I think the X and Y axis is switched on both of, like it's spread between two sticks. It's horrible. It's wacky.
So Go ahead. On Xbox, left stick moves and right stick looks around, right?
It's a modern control configuration. So yes. On N64, the left stick
there's only one stick.
Yes, and then there's the C buttons. And the up and down is on the wrong stick or something like that. One of the axes is on the wrong stick.
In the N64 version, you would use the middle stick to move and then the yellow buttons to look around.
No, you use the left stick to move and kind of look.
I don't remember that. I remember going back.
You have to pick it up and try it because
I remember going back and trying. I remember going back and trying. It was a long time ago, but it was a long time after 64, probably somewhere around Wii U era. And being completely mind-effed by I did not remember it being that hard to control. So on Switch, have they updated it to be Joy-Cons? No. So how do you move on Switch?
It's an N64 Switch Online game, so it's just however N64 games play on the Switch, that's the controls that you get.
So you can't do left to move and right to look around on the sticks?
You get the C buttons on the right stick. But I'm telling you, on the N64, the axis is weird. So like the left stick, I'm forgetting exactly which axis is what.
So they've just straight mapped the C buttons to the right stick.
Yes, and the analog stick to the left stick. So it is just straight up whatever the N64 controller had.
That's good old Nintendo for you.
And I mean, you can remap some controller configurations using the Nintendo Switch controller remapping, like in the OS level. You can't do it in the Nintendo Switch Online app at all, and you're not going to be able to move the axis. So like looking around and moving around is gonna be weird if you're not used to N64 gameplay. I have been playing a lot of N64 games on the Retroid Pocket, so and plus I grew up with those games, so I'm kind of used to playing it in a weird way. Like I've been playing Perfect Dark on the Retroid Pocket, which is the same, and I'm shooting with the left stick just fine. So if you liked GoldenEye when it came out, you're gonna know already that it plays weird. So you'll probably like it just fine. If you've never played GoldenEye before, probably just play it on Xbox so you can get a better controller configuration.
Yeah, that's got to be rough for a
But
first
also,
time.
you can only play online with other people using the Switch version, and it's still going to be split screen, and you have to use the Nintendo Switch Online thing where you have to be friends with the person and like create a lobby and, you know, like how you would play Mario Kart.
A lot of people complained about this forced split screen.
Yeah.
So like when you're playing online with people, you still see all their screens on your screen, even if they're not in your house.
It's like when we played Mario Kart with Nintendo Switch Online.
I like that.
Okay.
I am weird, but that's the experience of playing GoldenEye. You get to see everyone else's screen, and there's like a whole nother game in trying to cheat by looking at their screens.
Yeah.
And I know that sucks in games moving forward and when we grew up, but like this game GoldenEye is like where that originated. It was like part of the experience. There's a game called Screen Cheat that you can play, and the idea is you can't see any of the other players, but let me rephrase that. You see everybody's screen, but on your screen, in your little corner, you don't see the other players. So the only way to shoot them and figure out where they are is to screen cheat and look at their screens while you're playing.
The level areas are colored specifically so that you know, oh, this guy's in the yellow area.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that idea came from GoldenEye, like originated in like screen cheating in GoldenEye. So I don't know. For me, it's like part of the experience. I know there's a lot of dirty in any other game.
There's a lot of weird technical stuff that is bad about GoldenEye, but that is also part of the experience. Like it's getting some
like
crap.
Job?
Yes, it's getting.
Is he still in it?
Absolutely. Oh, that's the thing. So data miners saw that the ROM is different than any ROM they've seen for GoldenEye. And the reason for that is because there were, in the original GoldenEye, there were unused textures for the character models of Roger Moore and Sean Connery and other James Bonds. And they didn't make it to the final game, but they were still in the code somewhere. They took those out completely to, I guess, completely get around, copyright issues.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, but otherwise, the frame rate is horrible, but that's just how it was on the N64. So, they could have updated it. There's plenty of like emulators and hacks that people did to make the frame rate better, but they just didn't want to do that for whatever reason. There is a widescreen mode in the Nintendo Switch version and on the Xbox version. But apparently Modern Vintage Gamer said that was in the game already. It just had to be unlocked. Like that was locked behind a code or something. But yeah, otherwise it's just GoldenEye the way God intended. So I think
God being Miyamoto.
Yes. As long as we got it, I'm happy with it, I hope that this means we will get Perfect Dark. Perfect Dark was updated on the Xbox, and like supposedly I haven't played that version either. It plays really good. But I've been loving Perfect Dark on my Retroid Pocket. So I would like it on the Switch. I'd like more people to experience that because I think that is a more fleshed out version of GoldenEye.
The reason why I mentioned Oddjob is because his character model was like half the size of every other character model, so he had a much smaller hit box.
There needs to be like a
you couldn't get him.
There needs to be like a when you're playing with people, you need to have a vocal like rule to ban playing Oddjob because he's harder to hit.
But also like I want to play him. I think it was also harder because I think just looking dead on, you could like hit people in the head. You didn't have to do too much moving. But with Oddjob, you always had to intentionally look down if you wanted to shoot him.
Yeah. But you're playing as
harder.
Oddjob. I think you're shooting people in the dicks. Because you're crouching the whole time, basically.
Really? I didn't know you were playing shorter.
I think so, yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Anyway, I love that game, but it's going to be hard for people who have never played it before. Yeah, I would like to get a game going.
Okay. I'll download it on Xbox after this. Maybe we can play tonight with Scooty and Biscuits.
On Xbox. You have to do it on Nintendo.
You just told me that, and I already forgot. All right, I'll get it.
So you gotta play it with a weird controller. Oh, do you have the N64 controller?
Yeah, I'd have to unbox it.
That is going for a lot of money right now because
I will not unbox it
because it's not for sale.
How much is it going for?
I saw a tweet that said it was like almost $300 on eBay.
Oh my good golly gosh, that's insane.
Not to diverge too much, but also there is a Pro Controller shortage. I went to buy a Pro Controller the other day, nowhere to be found. There's one on Amazon, it's the Xenoblade one, and it's $100.
I always think about that when I look at this collection. I'm like, I have a rough idea of what it's worth because I know what I put into it. But really, with like a lot of the stuff I've bought in the past, like who knows what some of this stuff could be worth now?
Yeah. You'd have to, sell them all individually.
Price it out. Yeah, which I don't want to do because I don't want to.
It's definitely gone up in price for sure because you got a lot of collector's edition stuff.
I know. Especially limited run stuff. That always gets wild. I have the first limited run Switch game.
Whoa.
Which I imagine they always go for a lot. I have the first limited run Vita game, and it's worth like several hundred now.
Oh yeah, I remember you talking about that. We have two more things here, but
do you want to bonus them or do you want?
Well, I want to. This we have to mention in the main episode. Somebody tweeted at us. I'm gonna read it. It's by Darth Snoopy, who tweeted at us and said, so I've been watching so much of the podcast on my TV that the logo is now bled into my 70-inch TV. Can't see it as much, but it's there. So I want to.
Now, what does he mean? What logo? Because we don't have it on the screen now.
I'm assuming, when you watch it on YouTube, there's the little logo in the corner.
At the bottom right corner.
So we can change just that. And for Darth Snoopy, as of today, I would like to make it blue or just the opposite. It might be, what would it be? It'd be the opposite of red. So that way, if we leave it like that for a few weeks, hopefully it'll burn in the other way and it'll even out on Darth Snoopy's TV.
You want to change the branding of the podcast channel?
It's just that. It's just the YouTube. Yes. It's just the YouTube player thing. It'll just be inverted.
It'll only be inverted in the bottom right-hand corner when people are watching a YouTube video, not anywhere else.
Correct.
All right.
Nice.
I'm fine with that.
So we leave it like that for a few weeks, and hopefully it'll burn in the opposite way for him. Maybe leave the episodes on for a little longer, like replay them a couple times.
So I got burned in because he was watching so much.
Yeah.
That's fun. That's fun.
Pretty
I mean, not for him, but thank you so much for watching that much. Has anybody else had any other burn-in issues with their TVs? Because now's the time to fix it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, leave it. Leave. We'll fix all your burn-in problems.
As long as you subscribe to the podcast, you join the Patreon.
Oh yeah,
you get a sweatshirt, and then you leave the episodes on for weeks on end so you can fix your burn-in. Now, if you don't currently have burn-in, will this new one also burn in?
Yes.
All right, well, still watch.
No, it'll burn in, but then we're going to flip it back. So it'll burn, it'll do the other way.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you want to do a fun little experiment for your school, try burning in this new logo and see how long it takes to fix it. And then make a YouTube video about it. Bob does those a lot with burn-in on Switches, and he gets a lot of views.
I'm the burn-in guy.
I need to start stealing those burn-in views.
They're guaranteed. Guaranteed.
Are we done?
Yeah, we're done. There's one more thing you want to talk about, but if you want to save for the bonus, that's fine.
I didn't put it there.
Okay. Never mind then.
I'm American now, baby!
Wow!
Let's go!
Welcome to hell.
I can vote. I can
Did they take your health insurance away when during the ceremony?
I had health insurance? You mean in Australia?
I don't know how this works.
They took away.
I just
one
have a
thing that
guy I
kinda
go across
sucked.
the street. His name's Timmy. He's my doctor.
We should get health insurance for the podcast.
Ayo?
They took. Can we do that?
Yes, but it would cost a lot of money.
They took away my green card and my work visa because they were like, I think it's so I don't give them to someone else that looks like me, but they took them away because I don't need them anymore. And it kind of sucked. It was sad, the work visa specifically. I've had that in my wallet for like 5 years now. It just felt like a part of me, and they just like, you gotta give it back.
Now your wallet's empty. You need to put a gift card in there or something.
I need to put a gift card to Screenwave store.
Retroware.
So Retroware, so that I can get some great Nontendo merch. Don't forget to buy the new sweaters that we have. I still haven't got mine. I have to apparently go get it myself.
We could ship you one. It would just cost us money to ship it to you.
They are located 15 minutes down the road.
Right. That's why I assumed you would just go get it.
I need to go get one.
While you're there, pick up a couple extras for some of the crew.
I will. And also while I'm there, I will touch and breathe on every single one of our merch items so that when you order it, you'll know it's got my breath.
There you go.
We're about to do a bonus episode. I might actually talk about what happened at the ceremony because I think you'll find it interesting.
Yeah, I didn't hear anything about it.
Yeah, for the swearing in American Wood. But also we have some more fun things to talk about. So if you want to come watch that, it's on the Patreon. Go subscribe. I don't know what I just said. Also, if you're listening, rate us 5 stars. Leave a comment. If you're watching, like, comment, subscribe. We love you guys. And this is the last episode because we got upset about a video game. A game. Not even a video game.
Can I tease?
A sound game.
I might
tease sounds.
Do you know sounds? I might tease something accidentally here, but are we doing a weird and wacky for the next episode? Do we know that yet?
We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it in the bonus. I have to call him.
Okay.
Apparently.
Him. We have to call him. Okay.
We'll have to call him.
Okay.
Good thing you reminded me. All right.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.